here's Brody Brazil.
So there's a hockey rule I've been talking about for the last several years. They're actually going to test it out in Russia this upcoming season for the KHL's Junior League. I think if it goes well, the NHL should really monitor this and consider implementing it into their own overtime rules for 3-on-3 hockey. Here was the tweet from a couple days ago from the KHL. The Junior Hockey League over there will test the new rule in the 2024-25 season. Players are not allowed to skate with the puck back to their half of the ice in overtime. A minor penalty shall be imposed upon the team starting the second violation of the rule. Now, I could play you the video example. I'm not sure about copyright and what I can or can't show video-wise, so I'll take this still image, I'll telestrate it to try and explain here exactly what we're talking about. So this player right here, the puck carrier wearing the dark sweater, they're actually shooting this way and going that way. So this is the offensive zone. This is the defensive zone. Here's obviously the red line. So right now, that player is taking the puck back into their own end of the ice. I don't know the situation here in the game. It looks like overtime is just a minute or so in. Maybe get a change. You see that happening. Maybe reset. But we know in overtime, puck possession is everything. So maybe they got a shot or a rebound or there was a loose puck. Just wanted to skate it out of the zone, get it back here in the D zone, reset, and then obviously, you know what? I'll play with the colors here. Then come back in here and attack in the offensive zone, try and score a game-winning goal. So the way this rule is going to work is that this red line is a hard line. Once you enter the offensive zone, once you bring the puck in, cross the red line, you cannot skate it back out. All of a sudden, this red line becomes a hard line, an invisible boundary that you can't go back on. Now, you can one time, and that's the thing about this rule. Like the NHL is going to have to figure out, do we want to make this a hard rule where there's a first violation and you just take a face-off and a whistle? I'll explain that. But the second violation in the KHL is going to result in a 2-minute minor penalty. So you can actually make the mistake of this once, but you can't do it twice. I'm also realizing there's going to be a little bit of gray area here as you really, well, that's purple. Come on, Brazil. As you get to this red line, what if there's a loose puck right here and a player has to get around another player, or there's some type of collision here at the red line? Like, there's going to be some interesting gray area. But I think what we realize is that we're trying to get away from the obvious of the player, somewhere here in the middle of the offensive zone, taking it all the way out, circling back, resetting, regrouping, and playing that kind of boring game of keep away in overtime. Look, we've got 5 minutes on the clock. We've got 3-on-3. We're trying to get somebody a goal to end this game before it gets to the skills competition. And let me just say this too. I realize so many people over the years have said, 3-on-3 is a novelty. That's not real hockey. That's not how games should be decided in the regular season. The shootout is definitely much more of the novelty. I mean, that's a skills competition. At least 3-on-3, there's some form of teamwork and strategy and puck possession and retrieval. And it's more resembling 5-on-5 actual hockey. I realize it's not the same thing, but this is the regular season. They've got to get games over. They can't afford to have a 3-OT game or night with all the travel and the back-to-backs and the schedule. I digress. So we got to get games over. We got to figure out a way to end them in some reasonable fashion. And so I think I did it again. I think having this red line as a boundary, it just makes it more interesting. Like once you go in, you absolutely cannot come back out. So the first offense, right, if you come back in the defensive zone, there's a whistle, it stops play, and then you actually have to go take a face-off back in your D zone. So not even at center ice, certainly not in your offensive zone. You got to go all the way back to your end of the ice. So that's a little slap on the wrist. And I think that's why maybe there's some flexibility built in with this rule. Like I said before, what if it's a loose puck or it's not obvious that somebody brought it back in? It's very much like the half-court rule, the over and back rule in basketball. Once you gain the front court, you can't step back in the backcourt. You just can't do that. So the first offense, obviously, slap on the wrist. But the second offense, and I mean, this is worth paying attention to, a minor penalty in overtime, which is not, by the way, 3-on-2 in the NHL. It's 4-on-3, which I've never really liked 4-on-3. I don't know if that's, and I'll just draw it on myself real fast. If you think about like the geometry of 4-on-3, it's basically a square versus a triangle. Oh, that doesn't show up. See? Hang on a second. It's a square versus a triangle. And I don't know that 4-on-3, I just, like 5-on-4 is different than 4-on-3. Anyway, I digress. That's a separate video. I apologize. But that's what would happen here if you broke the rule for a second time in the KHL this upcoming season in their junior league. So let me get to my takeaways. I think this is a really good idea for the NHL. I don't have all the details worked out on it. Again, I don't know if it should be first violation, second violation. Does it have to be obvious that the puck carrier intentionally brought it back into the defensive zone, their own end of the ice? But, they have to fine-tune the rules. But overall, I think this is a really good thing. It's also nice to get this ironed out. Thank you very much, KHL, so that the ECHL doesn't have to do it. The American Hockey League doesn't have to do it. The NHL certainly doesn't have to do this without somebody else trying it first. The NHL should watch what the KHL's Junior League is about to do. We know that puck possession and retrieval are everything in overtime. So does this ruin that strategy? Like, there should be some reward that if you're strong on the puck and you hold the puck and you don't give away the puck, that you should have the most offensive chances. Play a little keep away. But I feel like that offers dull moments in a lot of games and a lot of overtimes where we've seen the game decided in the first 45 seconds where the team that loses never even got to touch the puck. Winning team won the draw. They kept the puck. They got one shot. They got the puck back. They brought it back into the defensive zone. They reset. They regrouped. They entered. They attacked. They scored. Done. At least this would force them to keep it in the offensive zone. It would let the defense put a little bit more pressure on the puck, knowing that the offense can't bring it another 60 feet back into their own end. It makes it obviously a tight window. It puts everybody kind of in that phone booth, so to speak. Do you even know what a phone booth is watching this video, you youngsters? Anyway, I digress. Thanks for checking out this video. Let me know what you think about this idea for the rule down in the comment section below. And since you've made it here to the end of this video, thumbs up down below as well. That'll greatly help me in this video and this channel. I would like that, but I would also love it if you go down there right now, make sure you're subscribed to this channel, so I definitely get to see you back here next time.